Hello, thank you for joining me. Today I'm starting moon through the houses. So clearly in Vedic astrology, moon is the second most important planet or placement, I should say, after your ascendant, because obviously your ascendant is at the end of the day your path, and moon is how you feel about your path. So when they are aligned, it's amazing. So obviously, sun is important because it's your soul's journey. Moon just is, it's all about how you feel about everything, And so, yes, when there is an alignment between the ascendant and the moon, it's pretty amazing. You find a lot of yogis have that. So there isn't that kind of friction within them to. They're just doing the right thing. They just know it in themselves and they feel it. So what an amazing placement. So as you, if we just go through what moon is, what first house is again, and if you remember, I do Sidereal zodiac, which is about 24 degrees behind the Western astrology, which is more used in the West. So let's see, so moon is clearly your emotions, your deepest needs, inner secret side of you. That's the bit that people don't see, because naturally moon rules their fourth house, rules Cancer, which is fourth house is like our private time at home. So it's hidden from the world, whereas 10th house is where people see you. So it's your true nature and your reactions to things, your memory, your emotional needs. The vulnerable side of anyone can be seen by where their moon is, basically. So that dictates everything, and we'll be obviously going through everything with you. So that this is where you're also most receptive to, wherever moon is in your chart. It's clearly your memories, your mother, how you were nurtured, and how you nurture as well. And it's indicative of the female energy in you. Also, moon rules hormones as well, so in men and women. And it's naturally, the nature of moon is changeable. So anywhere the moon is, you would be quite changeable in there, because moon is always change in size. It's like the oceans, the sea waxes and wanes, and you can feel it sometimes when you're very much connected with the moon, with your feelings. You can feel the emotions rising. So moon rules all the water elements, so menstrual cycle in ladies, water retention, all of that kind of thing. And where it is in your chart is where you can bloat, I think, basically. I think, you can also shows us that kind of hydration and all of that. So I'll come to that another video at some point. I don't know, it just goes into it a little bit more like medical astrology. Anyway, so a waxing moon is said to be able to manifest more, whereas the waning moon is very spiritual, introspective, and more spiritual. So that's a little bit about the moon. So now if we go to the first house. So when you have moon in the first house, it's a little bit like having moon in Aries. And Aries is a natural first house of the zodiac. So, and it rules the head. So when moon is in the first house, it will be a little bit like fourth house ruler in the first house. So it's good. And also moon gives fame. So if you have got moon in the first house, you're quite well known within it might not be world fame, but nonetheless that you are quite, you get noticed because it gives you that nurturing thing. So first house is also like some of this personality and character and how they look and everything is seen with your first house. So because first house is your mind, so you kind of very self-aware, if you like, because you're thinking about yourself and how things affect you. So it could make a person moody as well because of the nature of the moon, and emotional, and it could be sensitive depending on the house that the sign that they're in. So, and also the house as well. So, but it's lovely when the person's mind and their path are in unison with each other. Wow, it's so amazing, in tune. And they obviously will have and portray a lot of lunar traits as such. They tend to have kind personalities and be quite nurturing and caring and gentle, and a bit maternal, really. So in their company, you'll feel comfortable. You just feel at ease. Obviously it depends on what sign it is, and I'm talking all of this about a moon that hasn't got any malefic or benefic. It's got no aspect. But I know moon doesn't like to be on its own as well, because that creates like chemdrums yoga, but no maleficness. So anyway, so they can be quite nurturing, very creative and imaginative as well, and they could everything they do it from the place of emotions, really. Emotions, feelings have got a lot to do. So if they're feeling melancholy, they probably achieve very not as much that day. But having moon in the first house can give longevity and vitality to the person too. I mean, luminaries are wonderful, really. So wherever they are just if you use them properly, even in a difficult house, it's very, very supportive. You just got to learn how to work with them and not worry. Don't worry that it's ever in 12th house or 6th house or 8th house. That's where we need to just empower ourselves to actually think that all of them have a certain amount of beauty about them. And so, as I said, they can't separate kind of emotion from fact, kind of thing, because that is always on their mind. Emotions, feelings, they can feel a little bit too much and do very little as a result of it as well. So they're not really, they might, that saying, talk the talk, walk the walk. So they could be think the thought, not walk the thought, if you like. I don't know how you would say it. Anyway, so yeah, it could be a little bit not so much doing as it is thinking. I'll do this, but it's a thought. It's got to be done. It depends on the sign and the dispositor of the moon. So they're deep people. So they want to connect emotionally. So these could be the people that you meet in a nightclub or something, and you want to dance, and they want to talk about emotions and how they feel. So it is pretty amazing. And obviously, as long as you accept that they're going to be up and down all the time, then it's fine. And so from there, that in their presence, you're going to feel comfortable, cared for, nurtured, because that's just their natural way. It's that like 4th house of mother coming into the 1st house, and also having moon in the 1st house. It just also means that they have a connection with their mom, for better for worse, because it all depends on so many other things. But they do kind of like that family life. They have this attachment to their family, to their homeland, things like that. But also because moon is one of the indicators for travel. They love traveling. They're quite curious about other places. And Cancer itself, which moon rules, is overseas in Gemini astrology anyway. So yeah, it's so anyway, Aries. So if obviously, the other thing I just want to explain as well, moon is a social planet, so it doesn't like to be on its own. Often, if you're reading mundane charts, astrology charts or country charts, that 4th house will be homeland. There will be the masses masses, generally speaking. So you want to just bear that in mind as well. So they can also want to involve their mum in everyday life. So they could be the sort of people, they just have a chat with their mum every day, or their mum pops over, for a cup of tea regularly as well. And so the other thing is as well, it's depending on what house the moon rules for you, then that can also give you extra information as well. So if your moon is in your first house, that for Aries ascending, then you know your fourth house rule is in the first house. So that immediately creates a really nice Raja Yoga for you. And so that means that, you know, you are thinking about mother. Can make you quite traditional, and you could have quite a warm upbringing. You know, your early part of life can be very warm and nurturing and nourishing to your soul, really. So, and you normally will have you like to pass on the family traditions, and you're very proud of your homeland as such. So if you have moon in the second house, moon in the first house, and it's Taurus, obviously the moon will be exalted there as well. Exaltation sign is bringing two feminine energies together, the moon and Taurus, which is all about stability, family, and food, nourishment, things like that. So this would be like third house ruler in the first house. So you will be a great communicator. You'll be close to your siblings and your colleagues and your neighbours and friends. You'll be very good at learning skills. You probably make a really good teacher as such. And you'll enjoy creative hobbies, and you like to do lots of kind of fun. You'll have lots of interests. You'll be interested in a lot of things. It makes one quite sort of creative and artistic as well. So you might be able to very good at sort of reading and writing and creating crafts. Probably good at cooking and parties and things like that. So that's a really nice placement. If moon is in Gemini, your first house, so that'd be like second house ruler in the first house. So it just creates a wonderful. Going back actually to Taurus, so if your third house ruler is in the first house, what it will mean also is that you have to put a lot of effort into your family, into your life, into yourself too. And that gets better with time. So it could be when you're young, it's a little bit troublesome as well until moon matures. But generally speaking, yes, it's you need to put some effort into it, because, in Vedic astrology, 3rd, 7th and 11th houses and 10th house, they're 3rd, 7th and 11th are actually desire houses. So they're desire based. They want a lot of moon in the in Taurus. 3rd house ruler in the first house, Taurus, will be somebody who has a lot of desires. And but it's also an upachaya house, like 3rd, 6th, 10th and 11th houses. So they get better with time, because you kind of, firstly, in your early part of your life, you put a lot of effort into achieving and having your desires met. And then as you get older, you kind of think, I don't really care about that, that didn't give him much joy. So, and you naturally can manifest more at that point. Yeah. So because you have more of an understanding that world is not about all desires. Anyway, so when your second house ruler, like for Gemini ascendant, is in the first house, so you will be family and resources, money, having security and all of that will be most important things on your mind all the time. So you also want to give your children and bring your family up with family values. And because obviously Cancer is your second house, so that will also mean that you just love that early education at home, all those values put into the person, self-value, self-respect, things like that. But they like to have some money in the bank. Unfortunately, second house being a movable one, they could never sort of guarantee like fixed assets, because their assets can go up and down because the nature of the sign being movable. But they like to have money saved aside. That makes them feel secure. So if you have Cancer ascendant and moon is the first house, so it's first house ruler in the first house. That's fantastic. You know, it's just very much kind of gives you that vitality. You like to look after yourself, you like to look good, be very, you're very self-aware of your own feelings and how you feel, and you follow your own path, your own needs, really, in a sense. So this is strange, because although they are very sort of caring and nurturing and everything, but ultimately they probably only do what they really want to do. So they will never sing and dance about something, saying, oh no, but I don't want to do that because of this. They just like very gently sort of pull away, and Cancer ascendants are generally very good at just like not communicating if something doesn't sit right with them at that moment. If, you know, they just... And so when you have moon in Cancer, you're very much aware of, well, I get back to that. Or sometimes they also avoid it as well because they don't want to upset anyone. But generally speaking, they are self-aware. It's really good for vitality and longevity, having your first house ruler in the first house, particularly being moon, being a luminary. And again, they can be very up and down in their feelings and everything. And obviously that this can, again, give them really good fame, recognition, wherever they are, you know, kind of respected, really, if it's in good condition. If this is in really good condition, I'd be obviously saying that it hasn't got any bad aspects there. One thing, though, about moon in Cancer, or any planet in Cancer, they can be quite sensitive. So... you know, they might not even display it, but they're quite sensitive people, really. They do react to things like that pretty quickly. So you might want to just be aware not to sort of press their buttons too much, really, because they're quite sensitive. So if you're Leo ascendant and you got moon in your first house, so you have your 12th house ruler in the first house. So you will be quite a spiritual person, somebody who likes to retract from the world every now and then. And somebody who is obviously quite private as well. 12th house is a private house, and they can also be quite religious or spiritual. They could also be very fond of spending money and create expenses and losses for themselves without really meaning to at times, just because they can act on things on an emotional level, and suddenly go on shopping spree, and then another one the next day, and another one the next day. So they need to just curb that. It's also obviously to do with sort of faraway lands, isolation, hospitals, labs, things like that too. Then if you have Virgo as your first house, and moon is in your first house, so you have your 11th house ruler in the first house. So 11th house ruler, so that will be again an Upachaya house ruler in the first house. So that will be like, it gets better with time, but generally speaking, you like a sociable life. You like to be part of a group, or you work really hard to actually get accolades and certifications and honours and things like that. But generally speaking, you want to have people in your network who are quite famous, and you really enjoy spending time with them, because anything to do with moon or Cancer just has that feeling about it. And so actually, and your elder sibling as well. So your elder sibling could have quite a profound effect on your life. You can be quite close, or depending on what happens. But moon doesn't do so well in Mercury signs. Generally speaking, you can overthink. You can just, it makes the mind very busy. So it makes it very, very busy. Who's doing what? Like somebody with moon in Gemini would be like always wanting to know what other people are doing. Moon in Virgo can be like, oh, but she put that on and it was quite, she looked a bit fat in there, so they could be a little bit critical. So you have to bear that in mind, and just like, not collect any karma with that. So just letting it go and just seeing something in them that's beautiful rather than something in them. So critiquing something really good, maybe, oh, that's nice the way she's done that, or the way he's done that. So yeah. Anyway, So Libra, if you have Moon in your first house for Libra ascendant, it means your 10th house ruler is in your first house. So what will happen then is that you create your own business. You are the business. So you could be famous because you're a creative person. You're an artist. So you could be in the arts. Both very, very feminine, and so it's a very it brings both Cancer qualities, Moon qualities, and Venus and Libra together. So you want to work and connect with other people. Generally speaking, an expressive, diplomatic person who is very well received at work. So they create their own opportunities to do with work, if you like. And again, upward higher house, although it's a Raja Yoga. And sorry, I didn't say Moon in Virgo is Dhan Yoga of wealth. This is the Raja Yoga now. But yeah, it's good, and it gets better with time as you get more confidence and get into your skin and just enjoy being in your own skin. You'll actually create more opportunities for yourself in terms of work. And so you could also be your own brand name, if you like. So you will be your own USP. You create your own. These people can often become like counselors, or they could be like advisors, or they can do consulting work as well, have their job, and actually, because they are so good at what they do, but people will ask them to do those sort of things privately. So they, So anyway, so if you have Scorpio ascendant and Moon is in your first house, so Moon is debilitated in this, but it is also Raja Yoga. It's a very strange Raja Yoga because it also, ninth house ruler of ninth house of happiness and good karma and all that. Father in the first house and debilitated, and it's strange because Moon is the mum as well, and ninth house is, so it's a parental issue a little bit with Scorpio ascendant. So there could be issues there, karmic issues, because Scorpio is ruled by Ketu, co-ruled by Ketu, so some issues from previous lives coming through. However, it's still a Raja Yoga, and so this is also means that the person could be either spiritual, religious, an academic, scientist, that kind of thing. Or family that's like that. So somebody who likes traveling because it's got that connotations, obviously, of Sagittarius. Somebody who's well educated, higher knowledge, that kind of thing. So it's actually really nice, and it's a deep kind of, they've got really deep beliefs. But sometimes because it is a fixed sign, their beliefs cannot be, even though they know it's wrong, they will argue about that, So emotional connection with their with those things, with the parental things. And then if you have it in Sagittarius, so Sagittarius will be like ascendant. This will be the 8th lord in the first house. So this will be a very this, that it will be so it's the mind will be more on things to do with research, and it has got Scorpio feeling to it. So there's life will generally, because this is the Dushtana house, like in Virgo. Virgo is 6th house, it's another Dushtana house, as is the 12th house. This is obviously makes the mind quite fiery as well. It's a fiery sign, and they can have a lot of fire in their belly about like researching things and getting to the root of things. They want to really know what's going on. They can, again, they've got to be kind of flexible about the changes and transformation that life wants to give them. So, and through those is just learning that sometimes in life you have to walk on quicksand in order to get what you want, kind of thing. So it's like all those deep feelings, and just realizing that you can have wins in life by just trusting. So yeah, trusting can be an issue there because eighth house rule in the first. But those kind of things can actually just trust in. They have to learn to trust. But these are the people who have a lot of vulnerabilities, and they need to just open up to the right people, choose the right people, to just be able to trust and then letting go, because that's a problem with 8th house, is letting go is hard, the same as 12th house. And but these people can also have wins like lottery and inheritance and tax rebates and things as well. But they've got to be careful because they could be a little bit accident prone. So don't talk and chop vegetables. When you drive in your car, just be aware of the road. There's that kind of thing going on. And then also Capricorn. So if you have Moon in Capricorn in your first house, then you have your 7th house ruler in the first house. And this is also, Moon is aspecting its own house, protecting Cancer. So obviously it will guarantee, because we're talking about Moon in decent condition here. So it will protect the 7th house of relationship, business dealings, and other people. So they will see them as like a beacon of light, a caring person, steady person, because obviously it's got those values of Capricorn, which are steady, reliable, and hardworking too. But it's obviously sitting in Saturn's sign, and they're not friendly with each other. And so there could be like quite a lot of stress and anxiety to do with that placement as well, which is all unfounded really, because they can, if they work with it, it's quite a lot of resilience will come with that. It stabilizes the mind after a while. You just got to work with it and just learn not to be reactive. So relationships will be very much on their mind, and they want to share and have a union, have love in their life and have a union. Then we have Aquarius. So when you are Aquarius ascendant and you got Moon in your first house, that's your 6th house ruler in your first house. So you've got to be pretty careful not to bring enemies into your life, because you can create that yourself. So you can bring debts and discord and be argumentative, or be or you could be very much into healing and exercise, nutrition, competitive as well, that kind of thing. But you can also be somebody who's very service oriented. As I say, it could be a healer, that kind of thing. It could also be that you this is a placement for somebody who needs to overcome obstacles, because it's an Upachara house. This Lord of an Upachara house is trying to teach you how you are creating these battlegrounds and litigation issues, and so you learn how to deal with those things, and it does get better with time. And then we have Pisces. So if you have Moon in your first house, so it will be your 5th house ruler in your first house. So 5th house is naturally is your children, intelligence, gives you, it's romantic and love. So you love romance, you love children, you love dating, you love partying. You can have a lot of banter and good times and all that kind of thing. So it's very romantic, constantly thinking about creative and inspiration. It just literally brings inspiration to the mind. So they are very, and because Pisces is a little bit scatty as well, so they're really nice people, just like the mind's on like so many things at the same time that, this could be the sort of people they just make friends, just park in their car, and then they have a cup of tea with them, and then they're looking for their keys, and they they put the keys in the fridge because they're just like so creative. They go from one thing to another because it's bringing Moon, which is like a watery planet, into an environment which is watery and emotional and creative. So it's a beautiful, beautiful one, but it can be a little bit scatty as well. So, but in a really nice way, really creative, really out of the box, really freedom loving, spiritual. It is wonderful. So I think that covers everything. So actually enjoy having Moon in the first house, because obviously it gives you that wonderful vitality. And don't even worry if it is like a Dushtana Lord in the first house. Having any planet in the first house makes you special, even if it's debilitated. So, but you know, when we talk about these things in our community of astrology, it's really to just empower each other. So you don't want to be like allowing something just to pull you down. Just enjoy the moment. Anyway, thank you. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.